So the conversation around Star Wars Outlaws has completely and utterly died. It is completely tanked as expected. This game had a little bit of a slight push at the beginning when the modern audience wanted to convince everybody that it was such an amazing game. But as they started to play the game, some of them anyway, not all of them, and they started to showcase it, what ended up happening was people started to realize, no, this game is actually pretty damn trash. People started to realize that it's not a fun game at all. It's actually extremely buggy, and it's a very typical Ubisoft experience where they give it to you like crap on day one, and then they promise they'll fix it in about a month or two, but hey, just keep buying it and keep giving us money in the meantime, and we promise to do what we should have done from the beginning. Well, apparently the game is so dead that the Twitch viewership stats for Star Wars Outlaws has declined by over 99%. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the viewership have dropped to damn near almost nothing on Star Wars Outlaws, and this is for a game that's supposed to be an open world experience where you're supposed to get a lot of hours out of the game. Well, apparently not that much because people are over it and they have moved on from this, including the modern audience. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Star Wars Outlaws sales appear to have completely stagnated in the little over a month since the game released. In the first reported by Insider Gaming that the game sold just over 1 million copies in the first month since it released on August 30th. Grant Taylor Hill wrote, "We have secured a current sales figure from sources close to the game. At the time of writing, Star Wars Outlaws has just ticked over 1 million sales worldwide." Worldwide. I want to keep everybody, keep that in mind. Worldwide sales ticking over just 1 million. This is nowhere near enough for them to make up their massive budget on Star Wars Outlaws because they had to pay a lot of money to make this game. However, it is likely nearly all those sales came around the game's release date. It was reported by games industry head Christopher Dring that the game's sales were 55% lower than Star Wars Jedi Survivor and just 15% bigger than Avatar Frontiers of Pandora based on UK retail charts. A week later, he shared that Star Wars Outlaws UK figures were lower than I expected. Digital and physical data via GSD, but did a fair bit more than Avatar, 52% more, about half of Assassin's Creed Mirage. Plenty of opportunity to drive more units on this one as we head into Q4. Now, again, guys, I want to be very clear. The game taking over a month to do 1 million units worldwide when a game like Black Myth Wukong did 10 million in 3 days, these modern audience games do not sell the way that they try to portray that they do. And then what they say is they try to give you the big number, right? They try to say, oh yeah, it hit 1 million units sold. That's a success. I've even had some people on Twitter who don't know a fucking thing, mind you. What they'll try to say, because they're shills, they'll try to say, in what world do we live in where 1 million units is a failure? Look at these chuds. Look at these grifters. They have no idea what they're talking about. 1 million sales? That's incredible. These people are absolutely retarded, right? Because number one, they don't realize or understand, just like with movies, they don't understand that retailers don't work for free, right? I think they have it in their mind when they're doing their fake calculations that Steam works for free. They don't, by the way. They take about 30% of sales. That physical retail stores work for free. You think GameStop works for free? You think all of these physical retail stores work for free? Target, Best Buy, Walmart, you think they just work for free? No, they take a percentage as well from the retail sales. So at the end of the day, 1 million units when put up against a massive over $200 million budget for a game, I'm going to let you do the math and let you figure out that that is a massive failure. That this game is going to lose a fuck ton of money after you exclude costs and everything from the retailers and whatnot. It is going to lose an ungodly amount of money. So yes, we do live in a world, unfortunately, due to overinflated budgets like we have with Star Wars Outlaws, we do live in a world where a 1 million units sold game can be considered a failure. It's the same conversation that's happening right now with Silent Hill 2 Remake, but the only difference is that Blooper Team didn't have nowhere near as big of a budget as Star Wars Outlaws, so 1 million units sold can get them close to making their money back, but it's not quite there yet, but they should be able to at least break even pretty soon, especially as we get into the holiday season. But then it says, as noted by Nintendo Life, the game originally debuted at the top of the UK charts, but its second week it fell to second. It dropped to fifth in its third week, and in its third week it moved back up to fourth. In its fourth week it had fallen to 13th place. By its fifth week it was down to 17th. In the sixth most recent week, the game game sits in 30th place. The game has just not fallen down the UK sales charts. A retail insider shared with that Park Place that following the game's initial release, it has not sold a single copy of the game. Now, again, I would imagine that that's true because, number one, physical releases, that's not the primary target for a lot of gamers. Digital is the target. So you're going to see a lot of people who want to physically buy the game. They're going to do it on day one, and then they're never going to come back and do it unless they're probably finding the game when it's on clearance or on sale, 75% off, 80% off, something like that. And then they'll buy the game physically. But other than that, most physical sales are going to happen right at the beginning, and then after that, it kind of dies off to almost nothing. There are also pieces of evidence the game is no longer on True Trophy's top 40 most popular PlayStation games chart. Similarly, the game is not on True Achievements top 40 Xbox either. Twitch Tracker also notes, and this is the big one, that streams of the game are only averaging 176 viewers across an average of 32 channels. At its peak, the game had an average of 45,490 viewers across 757 channels. It notes that the average viewers declined 87% from August to September. It has actually declined over 99% if you look at average viewers and compare it to the average peak of 45,490 when it launched in August. I mean, look at this. Look at this. What a massive drop. Holy shit. This is insanity. Even for a game like this is pretty insane because, again, it's an open world game. You should be getting a lot of content out of it, and yet it just flopped. And most of the viewership actually died much sooner than that. If you look at this bar graph, it is dropping so unbelievably hard that I think after just 2 weeks, it was pretty much almost at its bare bottom, and then it just completely tanked after that. So this game is dead, man. The game will likely see a slight increase in players when it arrives on Steam in November 21 of 2024, but as it stands now, nearly all data points show that gamers have already abandoned the game and have no intention of returning to it. Now, again, guys, even when the game arrives on Steam, it doesn't matter because you can have this game sell a few thousand copies on Steam, whatever. I want to remind people, Steam still takes its cut, 30% on average, 20 to 30% on average is what they take from these sales. So even if they sell another few thousand copies, there's still, most of the money they get is not going to get anywhere close to getting them to break even on that budget. This is where it matters, right? The budget matters. How much they spent on this game matters. And they should have marketed this game differently, but unfortunately they did not. They decided to go with the typical route of the modern audience. And then they also decided to say, you know what? If you don't like K-Vest, you're just a bigot, you're a misogynist, you're a phobe, you're whatever. And unfortunately, the people behind the game ended up killing the game before it even come out. So yes, there is a world where 1 million sales is an absolute failure, and this is that world, and we're seeing it for ourselves. So for the shills out there that don't understand how math works, that don't understand how business works, because they're too busy playing activists and trying to say that the message is the most important thing and not the numbers, this is the prime example of why you are completely and utterly wrong in every way imaginable. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.